I still remember the year I got certified. I went from being very excited to, and now what? You see, at that time, I didn't know all the doors that were going to be open for becoming a certified interpreter. What I didn't know either was that I was going to be very good at it, and that eventually I was going to guide others in their career path. Maybe you are now just starting to think about interpretation and wondering if you can make a living being an interpreter. I'm often asked that question. Maybe you're already certified and you are like, now what? Or maybe you are so deep now into your career to imagine what it can be like 5 years from now or 10 years from now. I'm going to show you my career path sketch. I hosted an event last year and created this sketchy way of showing my career path. And I thought this might inspire you not only to become an interpreter, but also to explore where your talents can take you. Are you ready to dive in? Here it is, my career path sketch. So if you look here at the bottom of the page, that's certified interpreter. Right, that was the beginning of my career as a court interpreter. And with that certification along came with me my degree in teaching, my degree in linguistics, the time that I have been tutoring and teaching English, Spanish, and literature until the moment that I got certified. So as you can see here, as a court interpreter, that immediately guaranteed me working in the courts. And I started working in the courts. And the other thing that I also did at that time was also started making videos for schools in my mother language, Spanish, to communicate with parents. I branched out into translation as well, very early in my career, just by pure chance. That meant I had to really put myself up to speed and took a few workshops and went to a few conferences and sat through every translation workshop that there was to learn more and to make sure that I was doing the right work as a translator. So eventually, I did specialize in two types of translation. I got two niches: legal translations, and that was especially translation of legal documents, and then also specialized in translating documents for the schools. After that, if you look here, it says course development and teaching. Just being a court interpreter moved me into that. And it was, in the beginning, it was very small. I have a colleague who partnered with me to start preparing and teaching continuing education courses. It was a lot of fun, a lot of experimenting, a lot of reading, a lot of wonderful talks about interpretation. They were wonderful times. Now, in my path as a court interpreter, besides working for the courts, I later moved on to working with private clients. And then, very formally, I started teaching interpretation. I did too, at that time, took Trainers of Trainers workshop just to really be prepared for this part of my career, which was very exciting but very challenging, right? Because I had taught adults in the past, but was mostly in a one-on-one situation when I was teaching languages. This was going to be a completely different thing, right? I did work for Drexel and Widener, and finally settled down as adjunct faculty for La Salle University, who created masters in translation and interpretation. And I had the joy and privilege of being the one that supported the creation of the interpretation part of this masters. During this time, working as a professor in the Masters of Translation and Interpretation, I also had the opportunity to further develop other type of curriculum, which increased my knowledge of teaching to adults, developing material to teach adults, diving very, very deep into everything that was interpretation and translation as well, because I did teach translation in this master's as well. It was a learning curve that was exciting, and that was really something so different to what I had ever done in my life. And then eventually, as it happens, remember my colleague from this time when I was doing continuing education? Well, we decided to partner and open Magna Voce. And first, we started teaching in person, but then when the pandemic hit, we switched into online interpretation. Just like that. Just like that, the dream of having a school of interpretation became real. We were covering continuing education. We were doing program development for other organizations and for ourselves. And this is also the time in which I started my business coaching. The business coaching was for me to learn more about marketing, more about how to grow my business, more about how to become myself an entrepreneur and be able to handle all the things that entrepreneurs need to handle, right? I have been working for the courts, working for organizations, but now this was moving into being our own thing out there. Eventually, after a few years, I decided to continue teaching online on my own, and this is how I became interpreter coach. I am currently finalizing my coaching certification as a transformational coach. This is where I am now. So let me stop sharing this. Is there a career path similar or maybe even better for you in your future? Just remember a few things. Your certification type is not a limitation, but an opportunity to specialize and become sui generis. Number 2, everything you have learned so far will be helpful and support you in your life as an interpreter. And number 3, don't be afraid to explore new sources of income. Be bold, be daring, and experiment. If a career in interpretation is in the stars for you, check my upcoming workshop. Check the link and see you inside my classroom.